My name is Jacob Thompson, a salesman at a mid-tier beer company. My name, Jacob Thompson, sounds pretty manly, but I haven't quite lived up to it. I've been shy and introverted since my grade school days and was known as Shy Guy even in college. I finally landed a job in this company after failing multiple interviews. I've been a nondescript salaryman for 5 years, without making much progress, and not particularly fond of beer. But even I had my moment of opportunity. For some reason, the head of a company that operates several convenience stores took a liking to me and asked me to handle negotiations. My boss was overjoyed and, in a complete turnabout, began to spur me on.
Thompson, the company's fate lies on your shoulders. Time to man up.
He patted me on the back and sent me off to the negotiations. The other party has scheduled the negotiations for 8 o'clock in the morning. I was walking down Main Street after navigating through the busy commuting crowd at the station. Waiting for the light to change, I saw a small boy dart out into the crosswalk from the crowd of people waiting on the opposite side. Look out! I instinctively shut my eyes. The screech of brakes echoed around, and a murmur ran through the crowd. I slowly opened my eyes and saw a woman with long hair lying on the ground with the boy in her arms. The car had stopped just in time, inches away from the woman's head.
"What the hell are you doing, you idiot?"
I heard the driver yell angrily. The boy was crying as he wriggled out of the woman's arms and ran to a woman who seemed to be his mother. But the woman who had saved the boy wouldn't move. As soon as the light turned green, I rushed over to the woman. "Are you all right?" I tried to ask, but I froze. The woman lying in front of me was wearing what we'd call a gang jacket. On the back of the pure white jacket, it said Wild Roses in New York in crimson. And the jacket was torn and tattered. Oh no, getting involved with her could be dangerous. Her face was covered in blood here and there. She must have been beaten up. Isn't there anyone who can help her? I looked around, but everyone was pretending not to see. The signal started flashing, so I hurriedly carried her onto the sidewalk. She let out a groan and faintly opened her eyes. Are you okay?" I hesitantly asked, and she said, "Where's the kid?" in a hoarse voice. "The kid, Bo, the little boy. He's all right. He's with his mom."
Good.
With that, she closed her eyes again. At that moment, I felt a surge of anger towards myself. I don't know who this woman is, but she's still worried about the boy even in this state. But I've gotten over it, and I called an ambulance on my phone. I took off my jacket and draped it over the woman's shoulders. "Hang in there. An ambulance is on its way."
Don't bother.
She weakly tried to shake off my hand. I instinctively grabbed her hand. "Just listen to me, please." Startled by the shouts, the woman opened her eyes. Our gazes met for the first time. She seemed to smile faintly before closing her eyes again. After a while, the sound of an ambulance siren echoed in the distance. I, who had jumped in with her, had completely forgotten about my business meeting because of this completely unexpected event. It was after she was taken into the hospital on a stretcher that I remembered it. I quickly called my client to apologize to the manager in charge. Of course, I explained the situation.
"I see. You were helping someone and forgot about our meeting."
The manager's gentle voice was, in a way, frightening. "Yes, I'm really sorry. I'll be there shortly."
"No, don't worry about it. Please, stay with her. What you did was incredibly admirable. It's natural that you'd forget about our dealings."
"Oh no?"
"I'm glad to know that our company wasn't your top priority. It truly is an admirable act. Now, if you'll excuse me."
I was left staring at the abruptly disconnected phone. I didn't have the courage to call back. I decided to call my office and report the situation. As expected, I was berated and the call was abruptly ended. That's it. At best, I'll be demoted. At worst, I'll be fired. As I sat dazed, unable to think of anything, a nurse came out of the treatment room.
It's done. The patient has something to say to you. Please come in.
I stood up slowly and entered the treatment room. The woman, covered in bandages, lay on a simple bed receiving an 4 drip.
I was listening.
Caught off guard, I tilted my head in confusion.
So you left your important work to take care of me? You're quite the meddler.
Realizing she had heard me desperately apologizing over the phone, I got a bit annoyed. There's no need for such words from the person I saved.
Huh? As if these injuries would kill me.
Her cheeky tone irritated me even more. Then, suddenly, the woman got up and bowed to me.
Let me properly thank you. My name is Jessica Smith. I'm the leader of the Wild Roses in New York. It seems I've caused you quite some trouble. If there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to tell me.
The rude attitude she'd shown just moments ago was gone, replaced by a solemn expression. Jessica continued to look at me. Well, you, despite your severe injuries, risked yourself to save a child. That was inspiring.
Just call me Jessica. It wasn't a big deal. I just did what anyone would do.
Well, so did I. We smiled at each other. When Jessica smiled, she suddenly looked much younger. Maybe 16, 17. How did you get injured? I asked what I'd wanted to know. Jessica shrugged.
Isn't it obvious? I'm the leader of a female gang. I got ambushed by a rival gang. I played the decoy to let my gang members escape, and they beat me without hesitation.
She bit her lip in frustration and muttered, I'll get them back for this. You're a girl, you shouldn't be fighting. Your parents must be worried. Jessica looked puzzled before bursting into laughter.
My parents are proud of me leading a gang. After all, my father is involved in the underworld, and he's all for his daughter being strong. If I had let them beat me without fighting back, he'd probably kill me.
Seeing Jessica continue to laugh, a chill ran down my spine. I should avoid getting involved any further. Do well. I'm glad your injuries weren't severe. I have to get back to work, so. As I turned my back to leave, I heard, wait up.
I'll pay you back someday. I'll definitely help you out whenever you're in a tight spot. Give me your business card.
I was told so intimidatingly that I couldn't refuse, and I timidly handed over my card. Jessica carefully stored it in her chest pocket.
Thanks, Mr. Thompson. I won't forget you.
Her smile was dazzlingly beautiful as she said that. Afterwards, I managed to avoid being demoted or fired, but I was given a sinecure position. I've been sent to a department called Document Management, where I spend each day sorting files. It's full of old-timers. I often wonder if a completely different life would have awaited me if I had abandoned Jessica and went straight to the meeting that day, and I shake my head. No matter how many times I replay it, I don't think I could have left Jessica behind. It was the only moment in my life where I gathered up real courage. At least, I want to live my life being proud of that. So, I don't want to regret my current situation. All I can do is to work really hard in the environment I've been given. If things get too unbearable, I can always look for another job. I tell myself that I can at least show that much determination, and I continue to work unenthusiastically. Before I knew it, 3 years had passed in this way. Maybe it's because of my perseverance, but I'm now a team leader. Of course, I'm the team leader of the Document Management Department.
Hey, have you heard about this, boss?
Mr. Williams, a veteran of the company, placed a coffee on my desk and started talking.
Our newly launched sparkling wine is in serious trouble, apparently.
What do you mean serious trouble?
Despite a company-wide effort to promote it, it seems it's not selling well at all. We had a deal to supply a major chain of bars, but they canceled at the last minute.
Really?
Yes, the sales guys are running around in panic, but it seems to be in vain. Well, it was just bad timing.
Mr. Williams nodded and went back to his own desk. By bad timing, He probably meant that our wine was launched at the same time as a new wine named at Women by one of the leading wine manufacturers in the States. Of course, a beer company trying to ride the wave by making wine is bound to fail. Looking back my old days in sales, I turned my eyes back to my paperwork. A little while later, I was called by the head of the sales department. I thought it was some kind of mistake, but I decided to go to the first sales department anyway. The familiar faces all turned to look at me at once. I was taken aback by the intensity of everyone's gaze. What, did I do something? I left here 3 years ago. I don't think there's anything that I could be reprimanded me for now.
Team Leader Thompson, I'm sorry to trouble you by asking you to come all the way here.
My former boss, with a beaming smile, patted my shoulder. He seemed different from the man who harshly reprimanded me in front of everyone when I failed in negotiations.
No, today we have a customer who really wants to meet you.
A customer?
I've always thought you were a capable man, and it seems I was right. I'm truly delighted.
I almost asked him what, but I held back. I would love to know when he thought that.
Well, come this way. The customer is waiting.
He led me to the reception room with the eager manner of an innkeeper, which made me feel a bit creepy. When he knocked on the door, a woman's voice said, "Please come in." "Excuse me," I said, and walked into the room. There was a young woman in a suit sitting on the sofa. When she saw me, she stood up.
It's been a while, Mr. Thompson.
She said briskly, bowing her head. Who is this woman? I stared at her in thought. At that moment, I had a flashback to events from 3 years ago vividly. Jessica?
Yes, you remember me? I'm glad.
Her smile was the same as the last one she gave me years ago. With her hair neatly styled in a bun, dressed in a cream-colored suit, Jessica had fully transformed into a mature woman.
She is the sales manager at Aegis, a company that owns several clubs here in Manhattan. They're interested in using our newly launched sparkling wine at all of their clubs,
said my boss, his face lighting up with excitement. I was still trying to make sense of everything.
Surprised, aren't you? Aegis is a company my father runs. I promised to help out once I turned 18, and they've been quite lenient with me. You know what I mean by lenient, right?
Jessica said, with a mischievous smile. She was probably referring to the wild days of her youth.
As for our deal with your company, I specifically requested you, Mr. Thompson, to be in charge. You'll handle it, won't you?
Without waiting for my response, my boss turned back towards Jessica.
Mr. Thompson is a protege of mine. I taught him everything he knows about this job. I'm so happy as if it happened to me,
he said, laughing heartily. As the boss laughed, I muttered to myself, "Yeah, right." The next moment, Jessica echoed my thoughts. "Well said, old man," she said, laughing. The boss's laughter abruptly ended.
You guys pushed him aside to a dead-end job, didn't you? All because he chose to help others instead of focusing on some important business deal. What a great company. Without Mr. Thompson, who would want to do business with you?
Contrary to her harsh words, Jessica never lost her smile, and she was more intimidating than I remembered. The boss was speechless.
I'll purchase your wine out of respect for Mr. Thompson. But if you want our business to continue, you'll need to step up your game. I tasted your wine, and it's not really the quality we would serve at our clubs. First, learn to value good people. Without good employees, there's no way you can do good business.
That was an awkward silence. Peeking over, I saw the boss staring at Jessica, looking like he was about to faint. I was holding back laughter. Jessica in her cream suit reminded me of her in her white leather jacket back then. Her poised demeanor was the epitome of a leader.
Mr. Thompson, this is my way of repaying you. We're even now. It's your turn to step up,
she said, extending her right hand. Without hesitation, I shook her hand. Of course, I'll do my best. It was an honor to help you that day. That experience has brought me to where I am today,
I'm looking forward to it.
she said. As Jessica and I exchanged handshakes, the sight of the boss trembling was rather comical. After that, I was reinstated as a sales representative, now in charge of handling Aegis. Jessica and her father, the president of the company, were very demanding of me, but it was the challenges that made the work rewarding. If I had thought that they only gave me the job out of pity, I would have become disheartened. But Jessica always treated me as an equal, and that helped me believe in my own abilities. A junior colleague commented, "You've become more of a man lately, Mr. Thompson," which made me laugh. I wondered if I finally grew up as a man. Being around Jessica, I felt myself growing, which made me feel positive. To me, Jessica was more of a man than any other men I knew, who really I admire. When I said that to her, she punched me, though. Seeing Jessica's face, a mix of anger and sulking, I etched that image in my heart as if it were a treasured possession.